Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Ashok Joshi. Sorry for this little technical glitch. I hope there will be no more after this. Well, measuring effectiveness of your CSR is obviously a subject which is close to many people's hearts. I have been in this business for the last 10 years after I retired from service, and I will try and share whatever experience I have gained in the past 10 years. I'd certainly welcome a lot of questions, and I can only assure you that I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. Now, why do we do CSR? There are many reasons for doing it. Is it to look good? Is it to gain publicity? Is it to be good to the community? Or is it that we want our brand image to be created? And that there is no known definition for CSR. Probably all these reasons and many more are valid in every case. But very often I have found in my little experience that most companies, except for a very few, see CSR as a cost. So there's a lot of emphasis on how much money we are spending. Very often, if you look into the sustainability reports or the CSR reports of various companies, you would find they would say how much money they have spent. With what results? Yes, they do furnish results, but they are in very general terms. We have worked, for example, some would say that we have worked in so many villages, or we have worked in so many schools. Fine. What is the impact of that? That not many say. And those who say also are not very specific about the results that they wanted to achieve and they have actually achieved. Sometimes it appears that some of the results have come about more by accident than by design. Therefore, if we have to measure the impact of our efforts, I would imagine, like any other businessman would do, he would like to know what, before starting the business, he would probably like to know where are we heading, what sort of resources are required. If that required resources available, what sort of results I should be getting. If we have those answers, then perhaps a businessman will invest. Same is the case for CSR. When we start CSR, generally we would like to, should like to know where are we heading. Are we going to make an impact on the society? And whatever we are going to do, is that measurable? If it is not measurable, is it worthwhile doing it? Yes, certain things cannot be measured, I do understand. But by and large, most of the corporates and most CSR work revolves around education, health, women's empowerment, environment, and these things are certainly measurable. Therefore, I would imagine that to cut the whole discussion very brief, I would, if I were given the choice, and that's what we do in Srinivasan Services Trust, we try and first decide, before taking up any activity, we try and make an assessment about the resources required, what sort of manpower, what sort of material requirements, what sort of results we expect, and with whom we are going to work, whether the community is ready for it. If we have that, and finally, whatever our activity, would it result in a measurable impact or outcome? If that is done, I think it becomes much easier for us to measure our performance. Therefore, while planning for CSR, like any other business, as I said earlier, do we have clarity and purpose of what we want to achieve? When do we want to, in how much time do we want to achieve that? At what cost we'll do it? What are the strategies that we will adopt? If those questions are answered, chances are that we would not only succeed, but we'll also be able to measure our results. And then we would be able to claim that whatever we have tried to do has been achieved as a result of our planning and effort and not by accident. I know I'm being a little harsh when I say that most results happen by accident. No, it's not so. But it is much better to plan it and achieve it so that your measurement and effectiveness of your effort is quite well, can be explained to the world much more easily. Now, how do we define measurable performance indicators? Let's take an example of, let me take a very simple example. We have formed so many SHGs, or so many women have been empowered. What does it mean? Probably, in my opinion, it should mean that these so many women, let me put it this way. The primary purpose of any SHG probably is to enable women to earn an additional income. Do we have any vision? If we have, it's good. If we don't, we should try and envisage at what sort of income would these women start earning in how much time by taking up which activity. But getting them, forming an SHG is the easier part, but what is required is clarity of purpose. For example, in SST, we have a very simple measurement for when we form an SHG. We'd like to say that in 1 year's time, every member of the SHG should start earning at least 2,000 rupees per month as an additional income for that particular lady. If we achieve it, it's good. I must hasten to add that we don't always achieve it, but we know how much is the lag behind, how much we are lagging behind. If our target was to see that 100 women get 2,000 rupees a month, then at the end of 1 year, we should know whether we have reached that number of income and of the number of women who benefited. If not, then we can certainly analyze as to why did this not happen. If we can analyze the results, then we can certainly refine our strategy. I'll give an example. In our own one of the villages, we felt that mushroom cultivation would be a good way to enable women to earn an extra income. They did it, but very soon we found that out of the 100 women that we had chosen, only about 25 were in it. Then we went into, probably we had not done our homework in detail enough. We found that, well, many didn't have the resources that are required to start a mushroom cultivation facility. Some others did not have the time. Then there were climatic problems. It was too warm. The place had to be a little cooler. Then there was the problem of getting seed. Now, only if we had done all this analysis in time and well before starting the work, probably our results would have been better. I've given an example of something which did not succeed. But there are other areas where we have succeeded. Say making rope out of the harvested banana plant. From the skin of the banana plant, we make ropes, and those ropes are sold for making artifacts. Now this was a very simple activity which did not require very high skills, and our shortcoming initially was how to find a market for it. We thought through this, and today they are selling about 4 lakh meters of banana rope every month. Each meter sells for 20 paise. The result is X number of women are earning an additional income of which ranges from 2,000 to 3,000 rupees per month. All I'm trying to emphasize is, please plan the details, plan the activity in full details, have a measurable outcome in mind, then go ahead with it. And of course, you have to know how much money you need to do this. Then your answers would be much better. Finally, I mean, in such examples, and there are many other examples, say schools. You're working in schools. I have read many reports where corporates would say we have given so much furniture to that school. If that was the objective, fine. That's a measurable objective. I'll give say, school furniture to all the 10 classes in the school. Good. But if that was the objective, it is fine. But if the objective was to improve the quality of education or to improve attendance in the schools or to make students a little better informed, then merely giving furniture doesn't serve the purpose. Therefore, again and again, I'm probably repeating myself, it is very important that we have measurable outcomes. Measurable outcomes are not very difficult to achieve, provided we give enough thought to it. To summarize, what I've said is, it has to be systems thinking. Like you would do for business, you should do it here also. It should be process oriented. There should be clarity as to who would do what, when, and we should, as I have said earlier, what is the expected outcome. If the outcome is achieved, well, our planning was good. If it's not achieved, well, you know the answer. Specific goals, reasonable estimation of achievements is important. And finally, after doing all this, we will fall short in many instances. So we have to analyze the results, find out why did we not succeed, or where is it that we can improve our performance, and then we can refine our strategies and get better results. I'll just give a small example of what we have done in SST. This is not to publicize SST, but to give an example, because I'm more familiar with it. Economic development. Everybody says that we will remove poverty. The Millennium Development Goals of the UN also talk of halving the number of people who live below $2 a day. We in SST decided that by the end of 2012-13, we will have 75% of the families living in our work area, which is about 1,85,000 families, would earn at least an income of 12,000 rupees per month. I emphasize the family income, not an individual's income, which 3 years ago or 4 years ago was in the range of 5,000 to 7,000 rupees. So we worked with the plan to make sure that every family in our working area, at least 75% of the families, start earning that much money. The result is today that about 62% of the families have this income. But, well, that is what our planning did, and that's how we measure our performance. See, let's take health. Everybody talks of health. We talk of having given, and we hear of corporates giving costly equipment, furniture to hospitals, or maybe running hospitals themselves. But is that the objective, just to treat X number of people, or is there any clearer goal? In SST, we decided that it would be more preventive health care than curative. We do not want to run into competition with the government, because the government also has curative healthcare facilities. There are primary health centers, the sub-centers, the village health nurse, etc. So, and they provide the curative part of it. We have concentrated on reducing morbidity below 5%. By morbidity I mean communicable diseases which are caused by poor sanitation and hygiene or nutrition. We said we'll reduce it to below 5%. We also said that infant mortality and maternal mortality would be brought down to 0. This is just an example. This is the plan that we have in our mind. Reduce malnourishment amongst children to less than 5%. On an average, in our working areas, we found that the malnutrition levels range from 40 to 60%. But the target was 5 years ago that we will reduce it to 5% in the next 5 years' time. I'll give you the results. Similarly, attendance in schools. There should be all children should be attending school. If attending school is not sufficient, at least in our opinion, they should study up to the high school at least. And if those who study in high school, later on we revised our targets to say, can we make sure that all of them continue their studies beyond high school into colleges. The results have been very encouraging. I shall just be talking to you about that. Environment, a lot of organizations work for environment. Can we have a clean village? Can we have a green village? Yes, it's possible. For that, we have to develop strategies. Similarly, infrastructure, basic infrastructure is absolutely necessary for any all-round development. Does the school have a does the village have a proper access, a motorable access if possible? Does the the village have proper drinking water facilities? Is there a community hall where people can meet? Now, all that has been achieved to a very large extent. Again, with proper these outcomes in mind, when we work for it, we have been able to do it. Let me just give an example of health. Maternal mortality, we are targeting at 0, but we have reached at 2.16 for every 1 lakh. Infant mortality is 2.16 for every 1,000 live births. India's figures range anything between, depending on whose figures you're reading, about 45 to 50%, or 50 per 1,000 live births. Ours is only 2.6. Maternal mortality, we're glad to say it's 0, probably as good as it can ever be. Malnutrition, our target is 5%, but we have reached 5.6. Similarly, education, there are no dropouts, enrollment is 100%, and 85% of the children who complete high school continue their studies. Every year about 200 to 300 children join engineering colleges. Our emphasis now has been, since we have achieved these targets, our emphasis now is on making sure that they learn the subjects well enough and get gainfully employed. Similarly, for environment, 85% of the households in our work area have proper solid and liquid waste disposal methods. Almost 1,75,000 hectares have been covered of degraded forest and are covered by afforestation. So, and finally, what is very significant and satisfying for us is there are 96 villages where communities are self-reliant. We don't have to go and work with them anymore. We mentor them, we have not abandoned them, but we mentor them from a distance where we used to be going to those villages probably twice or thrice in a week. Today we go there once a month. Not because the villagers don't want us, but because the villagers themselves are confident of being able to carry on the change. Now all that has happened because we had measurable results in our mind. We achieved that, and we continue. But I must also add that CSR, there is no end to it. It is a journey. There is no destination. Once we achieve a certain level of improvement, certainly there's more to be achieved. So therefore, I think if we plan our work, if we measure our results, we would definitely be able to make a very serious and a meaningful impact. Last point, which I should have mentioned earlier, is we do not compete with the government. The government has a large number of welfare schemes. If as a corporate we start competing with them, we are only creating conflicts. If an Anganwadi or a school is running well, certainly people know who is doing it. And in the process, if the government gets a good name, nothing is lost. We only get the support of the government also. If the forest has been regenerated, certainly the state government would feel proud of it. But at the same time, the larger interest and largest goal of improving our country has been well served. And that is what all CSR is about. Thank you very much. Now, I'm sure there will be a lot of questions. I'd be very happy to answer them.